Like the rest of you, going to settle back and enjoy full live first half commentary from Easter Road here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. It is Hibernian against Rangers with Stephen Thompson, John Hughes and Al Lamont.
Thanks very much, Richard. Yes, welcome to Easter Road for the final action of the Premiership weekend, and a cracking game in store with Hibernian, as we've discussed, in desperate need of 3 points as they retain belief that third place is not beyond them. Rangers on the face of it with much less to play for, but after the convincing win over Celtic last time out, Michael Beale will want his side to continue in a similar vein. As John was alluding to there, a little bit of drizzle in the air, but good conditions for a game. Doesn't seem to be much of a breeze. The pitch looks in fine condition as well, as Rangers prepare to kick us off in Monaco style kit, if you like, with a white and red tops, red shorts and white socks. Hibs in their traditional green and white. Hibs will go from left to right as we look at it from the back of the main stand, and we are just about ready to get underway with referee Alan Muir signalling to Todd Cantwell that we can get up and running. And it's a birthday boy, Ridvan Yilmaz, 22 today, gets an early touch, leads that back, and it's McCrory starting in goals for the third game in a row, yet to concede in his 4 Rangers appearances. He'll be desperate to keep that record going, and Rascan picks up in the centre circle. Good atmosphere inside Easter Road, certainly not a full stadium, but Rangers have brought several thousand away to our right hand side, and Hibs in good numbers as well as they try to get on the ball. But Rangers early possession in the middle of the park. It's Lundstrom just in Hibs territory, comes forward. Cantwell now back to Suter, who's playing the right hand side of defence, with King playing as the left centre back, and out to Jack, and then Yilmaz takes over again. Hadji tells Sakala to leave it. Sakala ignores him and manages to lose possession, and Hibs have it. It's Cadden right hand side, slips it past Jack, but covering was Rascan. It's a clever ball inside for Lundstrom. Jack on the halfway line slips it to Yilmaz. Rangers left, coming forward midway inside the Hibernian half, short of options but away from Egan Riley. Cantwell now back to Rascan. Rangers enjoying a lot of the ball in this early couple of minutes, and it's the skipper James Tavernier right hand side infield to Cantwell. Rangers looking to pick up where they left off against Celtic, and they're doing well so far, and they've won themselves a corner. A bright start, Stephen Thompson, by Rangers.
Certainly is, Alistair. Hibs hardly had a kick of the ball in the opening minute and a half that's been there, and you know, Rangers, as we said before, have nothing really to play for today, but sometimes that can give you a wee bit of freedom. There's no pressure on this game, and they certainly look in the mood for it this afternoon, winning this early corner.
To be taken by the captain, James Tavernier, who, as I mentioned earlier, makes his 400th appearance since making his debut on this ground. A 6-2 League Cup win back in 2015, swings it in, near post ball, flicked on by King, comes to Cantwell at the back post, blocked but only half cleared. The looping header off the crossbar, Cantwell trying to force it home, hacked away, and Hibs survived by the skin of their teeth and tried to come forward on the counter, almost the opening goal for Rangers. But here's Yuan at the other end, tracked by Yilmaz down the right hand side up to close to the goal line. Yuan looking to get away from Yilmaz. It comes off Yilmaz but into the arms of McCrory, and it's Hibernian nil, Rangers nil, but so close to the opener, John Hughes.
Yeah, Alistair, and it's the corner kick. Suter should have actually got a glancing header on it. Same corner as last week from his goal against Celtic. That outswinger, he makes that near post run and gets on it, keeps it alive on the back post, and Hibs got a little bit lucky there, but you would think that Hibs have seen that kind of movement and just block up the space.
So a bright start certainly by the visitors. Hibs looking to just play their way into the game, because the 3 points certainly would be extremely valuable to them. Here's Tavernier though for Rangers as they look to continue the way they've started this encounter. Jeggle high in the air from the edge of his own penalty area, helped on by Campbell, but Rangers pick up once more, and it's King on the centre circle out to Yilmaz, left hand side, midway inside the Hibs half. 3 played, it comes off a Hibs body as Yilmaz plays it forward, and it's another corner, this time on the Rangers left. And well, Rangers may have little to play for, Stephen, but as you say, they do look to be playing in relaxed, confident mood.
They most certainly are, and so they should be after last week's performance. They were absolutely brilliant against Celtic, forcing 2 early corners here. I mean, the previous one, the header, it looked like he was going to loop over the bar, but in the end, I think David Marshall just got his kind of angles wrong. It came off the face of the bar and just bounced down.
Tavernier from the left, near post ball, glanced on this time. Oh, Marshall! Did he get the fingertips to that to push it away? If he did, it's a marvellous save. He's claiming he didn't touch it.
I don't think he did.
No, but it's gone behind for a corner, certainly. Alan Muir has awarded the corner, but somehow Rangers...
It's the same corner from the right and the left. If you see them here, I think it's King and Souttar start at the edge of the box, as he did last week. And it's like a wee bus stop, and Souttar always gets across that near post. Always gets across it. There again, he got a glancing header on it.
There's a check being made here, but I think Alan Muir is going to wave it on, so Tavernier will take the corner again from the Rangers left. This one into the 6-yard box, back post again. It's havoc in there, but Hibs managed to clear the lines. Hadji missed kicks, but does get it back to Tavernier, and it's a throw into Rangers. But my goodness, that Hibs defence under real pressure in the opening stages.
And they look a bit panicky, don't they, John?
Yeah. The thing about it, Alistair, when you play the Old Firm, if they score a great football goal against you, then you take your hat off to that. You have to stand up to anything set plays. Don't concede to any set plays.
It's all Rangers in these opening 5 minutes. No goals to show for it. Header off the bar, and some scrambled defence from Hibernian has kept the scoreline blank. But Hibs
have just got a wee problem tactically here. I'm just looking at Raskins. Everyone else is matched up. Even Cantwell comes off. He doesn't play up centre forward. He comes off and plays in. Diego, get him. Who's going to play against Raskin? He's sitting there dominating that midfield, getting on the ball, popping it. Hibs need to get someone on him and match up in midfield. They might have to change it to a diamond.
It's going to be a free kick to Hibs. Hadji penalised for making a back for Egan Riley. Hadji himself was taking a knock in the process, but it's a chance for Hibs to get a breather and maybe sort those tactics that John's talking about out, because certainly Raskin, sitting deeper than anyone else in the Rangers midfield, has seen a lot of the ball early on.
Well, Rangers dominated the midfield last week in the Old Firm game. You know, I felt as though Lundstrom, Raskin and Jack were superb, and Hibs really need to get a grip of that area of the pitch, because so far in the opening 6 minutes they have not.
Jomo, it's Cantwell. He's like that Fogg's number 9. It drops away back into midfield, and that's okay, because Diego plays sitting midfield. He'll pick him up.
Here come Hibs, so it's Newell left hand side into the penalty area, sliding back there went John Souttar to knock it behind. Hibs have a corner, and now the Easter Road faithful get behind their side, looking for them to respond to Rangers' bright start here at Easter Road.
Yeah, Rangers were just sleeping there a wee bit. Newell getting free down the left-hand side, tries to flash it across the face. Good defending from John Souttar, gets himself into that front post area, but can only turn it away for a corner.
So the corner kick from the Hibernian left. Cadden sends it in low, and they can't make anything of it, really. It wasn't a bad delivery as such, but Will Fish was the man who met it and couldn't turn it goalwards.
Well, I think he tried to take a touch. I don't know why he's trying to take a touch there, just to get a deflection on it and to it goal bound. I mean, there's some touch to take a touch for that one.
That's where I think if Hibs get any success here today, it'll be down the sides, the full-backs on the overlap, getting 2v1s going down the side as Rangers play off in narrow.
Rangers have the free kick, awarded by Alan Muir, just inside their own half. Quickly taken, and Leon King has it. To see him back in the starting lineup, albeit at the expense of the injured Connor Goldson. It was a foot injury, as far as we understand. And it's a foul by Fashion Sakala and Hanlon over there on the far side.
Maybe in a centre half, you know, the referee fogs for that. All you need to do, as soon as you feel a hand fall down, you be in a centre forward.
Every single time.
What do you think?
It's so frustrating. The ref buys it every time. It's like when goalies go up and they get touched, you can be guaranteed it's a foul.
Hibernian down the right hand side, Cadden keeps it in, but Jack picks up. Jack just signed a new 1-year deal. He was out of contract, but Rangers have tied him up for another 12 months. Still an important player as Cadden gets the corner kick off Yilmaz. Yilmaz claiming it didn't touch him, but it certainly did, and Hibs will have the corner on this right hand side as they just begin to play their way back into the game, having been on the end of a ferocious start from Rangers. But John Souttar coming closest with a looping header off the crossbar in a couple of minutes. That aside, Hibs have been unscathed at the back and now have a corner kick of their own to be taken by Joe Newell, right hand side, left footed. The assistant down there just making sure it's within the arc. Just on the edge of it as Newell holds the two arms in the air with the signal for his teammates and then curls it in, and McCrory hasn't grasped that, and it's away by Lundstrom, and he takes a blow to the head in clearing it. And McCrory, who has looked excellent in his couple of appearances so far in the last couple of weeks for Rangers, but he made a real hash of that one and gets away with it.
Certainly did. I mean, it wasn't a good corner straight in on top of the goalkeeper. It looked like a very simple catch for Robbie McCrory, but it just slipped out his hands and almost fell to Will Fish. Caught John Lundstrom, who was trying to clear it with his head.
And it was brave defending in the end by Lundstrom, digging his goalkeeper out of a hole. As Rangers look to play out from the back, and it's Yilmaz coming down the left-hand side. Back it goes to Jack, still midway inside his own half. 0-0 at Easter Road, almost 10 minutes on the clock. Lundstrom lifts it forward, looking for Cantwell. Hanlon should get there first, reads the header, but Tavernier picks up the loose ball, tries to poke it to Hadji. Campbell's there and gets it back to Hanlon. He knocks it up towards the halfway line. Yilmaz slips as he tries to control. Cadden will try and move away from him down the Hibs right. Early ball in. King's there to defend it. Yilmaz picks up almost on his own goal line, tries to clear his lines and manages to find Raskan on the edge of the penalty area. Raskan moves forwards, plays it up towards Sakala, halfway line, gets turned, plays it infield to Cantwell. Cantwell looks out to his right where Tavernier is motoring forward. He just nudges it back to Lundstrom, who plays it back out to the captain on the right hand side. Yuan with him. Lundstrom picks up once more, and now it's Cantwell midway inside the Hibs half into the feet of Sakala. Sakala rolls it back to Lundstrom, then Cantwell picks up and plays it out to Tavernier first time. Tavernier for Sakala, bit of room on the right hand side of the Hibs penalty. A good first touch, shot straight in. Marshall could have picked out a teammate. He had three other Rangers players inside the penalty area, went for goal himself, Sakala, from a narrow angle, and it's a comfortable save from Marshall. Hibernian 0, Rangers 0.
Really good football from Rangers, again though without any real pressure on the ball from Hibernian. They were popping it about, nice switch of play out to the far side, and when it comes to Sakala in the box, he does well to chop onto his left hand side. He's got every right to take the shot on, but it was never really going to trouble David Marshall. Hibs have got to get closer to Rangers though, because yes, they're keeping the ball and it's very nice football that they're playing, but there's no putting a tackle in, there's no real pressure on the ball. It's very easy for Rangers.
Yilmaz is giving that away to Newell, but Raskan picks the pocket of him and Eli Yuan and moves forward. The Belgian leaves it to Cantwell in the centre circle, and it's out with Tavernier. Once more, right hand side, Tavernier in for Sakala. Sakala gets a rather heavy touch, it might break for Lundstrom. It comes back to Sakala. Sakala still inside the penalty area, back to Tavernier, and well over the top from the Rangers skipper. It's a position from which we've seen him score a number of goals, just on the edge of the penalty area as the ball breaks, but he got that one all wrong, and it's still Hibs 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, Alistair, his returning goals is phenomenal. It's unbelievable, it really is, and you'd expect him there just to be a little bit more composed and what the goalkeeper. But once again, full back, look where he is, he's in the box, looking to score a goal.
I mean, 400 appearances and he's got over 100 goals. It's just remarkable. 1 in 4 I would have taken as a striker.
Here comes Yuan up against Tavernier, going down that left hand side, looking to test his pace. Suter comes across and just sees it out of play, and it will be a Rangers goal kick. Yeah, it is pretty phenomenal numbers for James Tavernier. He's bang on 100 goals. That 100th came in the 3-2 defeat at Celtic Park, which he said was ultimately meaningless because of the defeat, but certainly the figures that he has accumulated in his 8 years as a Rangers player, something pretty special. Sakala's given it away, it's Fish. Infield it goes to Newell, does well to retain possession, plays it out to another man who's racking up the appearances for Hibernian. It's Lewis Stevenson. He finds Yuan, but he's well challenged by Tavernier, breaks back the way of Newell. He's nudged to the ground there by Cantwell. It'll be a Hibs free kick. We're playing 13 minutes at Easter Road and it's still goalless.
Yuan's frustrating to watch. I mean, last week he was absolutely brilliant up at Aberdeen. His final product maybe not so much, but at times he just looks unplayable. But today he's had the ball a couple of times and just, it's frustrating. His end product needs to improve.
Campbell tries to get the ball across goal. King slides in and knocks it behind. Hibs have another corner kick, right hand side, and the home fans a bit happier about where their side are right now, as opposed to the first few minutes of the game when they were right on the back foot.
Yeah, they're starting to settle, you know, coming into the game a little bit more, just getting an understanding of what's required to get about Rangers. You know, as you say, and then they're starting to take the game to them a little bit more.
Newell will try again. He caused McCrory problems with his last delivery. Let's see what he can produce this time around. The Hibs midfielder, really nice left foot. When he pick out a teammate in that penalty area. It's again into the 6-yard box. This time McCrory punches, 2 fists. He'll back into the box. McCrory's under real pressure. Alan Muir spots an infringement on the keeper. Was that one of the ones you were talking about earlier, Stephen?
Yeah.
Keeper's getting.
You're going to need a goalie. It's a free kick, but again, his punch wasn't overly convincing for me. He didn't want to catch this one. It was a very similar ball in on top of him. He went with the punch, but didn't really get it. Comes to the edge of the box and it's forced back in. But yeah, I mean, I think it probably was a foul in the end.
Which is taken inside the box, and King plays it to Suter. And back with Leon King, 19-year-old. Plays it square for Suter once more. Still midway inside the Rangers half. King has it again. Jack offers himself. King under pressure from Nisbet. He was being fouled in the end, but he took a chance there, Leon King, which he was lucky to get away with in the end.
Yeah, he just needs to see it, get his passing away. You know, the two centre halves at Rangers, they get them started. They're the quarterbacks. You need to see the pass, get it into that midfield, give it into the players that can take it on a half turn and play forward.
Yeah, both King and Suter comfortable with the ball at their feet, but Leon King maybe just a little bit overconfident there. And luckily for him, the referee gave the free kick in his favour. Here's Cantwell picking up just inside his own half, plays out to the left-hand side for Rascan, still a few yards inside his own territory, plays it square for Suter. He'll just cross the halfway line, unchallenged still, and then plays a nice ball with the outside of his right foot. Tavernier, first time into the box it goes. Fish and then Hanlon between them managed to get it clear. Yuan picks up on a loose ball but immediately gives it back to Cantwell, and now Hadji midway inside the Hibs half. Suter gets it back from Cantwell, and now Cantwell takes over once more. Rangers looking for a way through. Tavernier looks to find Lundstrom. Good play between the pair. Back with Tavernier, right hand side, scoops it to the back post. Yilmaz arriving. It was Egan Riley who did just enough there to knock it away, but Yilmaz picks up once more through the legs of Egan Riley. Oh, he's lost it again to Yilmaz, but manages to get it clear. Rangers will come once more, looking to find the opening goal. 16.5 played and still 0-0, but it's Cantwell tells Rascan where he wants him to move, and now it is the Belgian midfielder square for Lundstrom, midway inside the Hibs half. Suter well advanced as well. Here's Lundstrom again, out to the left hand side for Cantwell. Yilmaz is well advanced, but it's a switch of play out to the right hand side for Tavernier, who knocks it down for Lundstrom. Lundstrom into the feet of Hadji and gets it back. Lundstrom then plays it to Rascan under a bit of pressure. Rascan tries to sweep it out to Jack, but Egan Riley was in a good position, read the pass and moves forward down the right. The Hibs right back on loan from Burnley, held up there well by Rascan, but he does get the pass off to Cadden. Cadden tries to get the cross in, it comes off Yilmaz. A bit of uncertainty at the back for Rangers, but Lundstrom takes charge and plays it to Rascan. And now Lundstrom back to his goalkeeper, Robbie McCrory, inside the 6-yard box. 17.5 on the clock, 0-0. But both sides look like they're keen to go forward whenever the opportunity presents itself. Hadji running into trouble, and Hibs have it back, and it's Will Fish who plays it back to the veteran David Marshall, and plays it out to Hanlon. And now Fish, midway inside his own half, looks for the diagonal out to Yuan. It's a good spot and a good pass onto the chest of the left winger, and he moves away from Tavernier. Goes for goal, and it's 2 or 3 yards wide of goal in the end from about 30 yards out. Yuan, ambitious effort, and it drifts wide. Hibernian 0, Rangers 0.
Well, the pass out to him's absolutely sensational. His touch was good. He drove in the pitch, but he actually had options. Kevin Nisbet was wanting it into his feet at the edge of the box, but Yuan, it just opened up for him. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a strike from 30 yards to beat the goalkeeper there, and he just dragged it. Didn't really get any quality on it. And again, that's his decision making when he gets into the final third for me. Just isn't quite there.
Rangers have it on the right hand side. It's Tavernier still well inside his own half. Suter. Hibs look to be a bit better organised than they were in the opening exchanges, maybe just getting to grips with the formation that Rangers have set out. Here's King into the feet of Jack, still midway inside his own half. Rangers looking for a way out. Suter plays it to the left hand side for Yilmaz, and he'll come forward. Cadden gets back to him. Hadji closed down by a couple of Hibs players, manages to keep possession, wriggling one way then the other, moves away from Campbell, and Rangers still have it. It's Jack into the midfield. Lundstrom though won't get onto the pass. It was a slack one from Jack, and this could be a chance for Hibernian to come forward. It's Yuan attacking the Rangers box, left hand side. Cross goes Suter, just stands up strong, and although Yuan manages to keep it in play, Raskan was there was no Hibs player in support, and Rangers have it back, and it's Jack for Raskan, right hand side for Rangers. Back to Tavernier. Jack once more. Raskan. Hibs looking to keep Rangers penned in, but they've played it forwards, and then Hanlon, is he climbing over the back of Lundstrom there? The referee sees that as 50-50, and play continues as King knocks it back to McCrory. His clearance was a bit dodgy. Jack couldn't bring it under control. Rangers just showing a few signs of slackness at the back, and Raskan won't get onto the pass forward from Suter, and the Hibs fans like that a bit better as it's played forward up to the edge of the penalty. Yilmaz with a cool header back to his goalkeeper. 20 minutes played, Hibernian 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, Hibs are quite content letting Rangers have it at the back, the two centre halves, and they're just blocking the lines, closing the lines. Rangers popping about, looking to play through the lines, into Hadji, into Cantwell. You know, and Hibs are doing it very well. They're just knuckling over. The ball is a switchy play. Rangers have got a 2v1 on a switchy play all day long.
It's Jack picking up 30 yards inside his own half. Cantwell on the left-hand side is one option, but he comes back in field for King, and Suter now on the edge of the centre circle. Plays it square once more to Ryan Jack. Hibs have certainly quelled that early Rangers threat that threatened to have them in front in the opening minutes. John Suter coming closest inside the first 3 minutes with a header that looked onto the crossbar, as Paul Hanlon gets the ball cleared down the Hibernian left, but it's picked up by Lundstrom into the feet of Cantwell. Lundstrom once more, and then Suter just inside his own half, plays it square for King, who leaves it to Jack, and Jack out to Yilmaz, left hand side. Sakala makes the dart down the left as you get the legs here on Fish, who just slides in and knocks it behind for a corner. He's dealt with him well so far as Sakala just places the ball near the corner flag and allows James Tavernier to trot over. One of my colleagues who's on the ball points out that it was a Challenge Cup game actually rather than a League Cup game in which James Tavernier made his debut, but some nice symmetry there, making his 400th appearance back on the same ground where he made his debut. Rangers would settle for a 6-2 again this afternoon. No goals yet as Cantwell picks up in the short corner. Looks like there's too much on that cross behind harmlessly for a goal kick to Hibernian. John, just think Lee Johnson, a year in the job on February past. Do you think he's beginning to get to grips with what's required here and looking to start to put together a squad that has Hibs going in the right direction? I
think the jury's still out, to tell you the truth, in terms of you're always looking, the Hibs manager, you're always looking to guarantee that European place. You know, they've just scraped through into the top 6 with that win against St Johnstone, great. And then getting knocked out for Hearts and knocked out in the early stages of the League Cup. It's not been a great season, but once again, if you say, as you say, starting to find his feet, yes, I would agree with that. Recruitment's not been great. You know, the recruitment for next year has to be a lot better.
Yeah, well, they put the infrastructure in place, haven't they, with the appointment recently of the technical director and so on. So we'll see what comes of that. Hibs fans looking forward to a summer in which the squad can be improved. But here they are coming down the left-hand side with Yuan, who they've already tied up to a permanent 3-year deal. Certainly an exciting, if sometimes, as Stephen was saying, frustrating player, but he's turning Tavernier one way or the other. Gets the ball in, the header comes in, and Nisbet just sends it wide of goal. But the Hibs fans appreciated that, first from Yuan and then the header. Wide of goal, Hibernian 0, Rangers 0. Yeah,
and we're just talking about recruitment, and that's a fantastic piece of business, Johan. You know, because he's got that in his locker, he's rapid, quick. Tomo touched on his end product has to be better, but there, You know, he's gone left, right, he's got Tavernier all over the place, and a wonderful cross. Nisbet gets a header on it past the post.
I think Nisbet will be disappointed they didn't hit the target with it. I mean, the ball in was superb, really flat. It was good play from Johan. Nisbet gets across his marker and just catches it a wee bit square with his head, didn't get an angle on it. It was a decent chance for a man of his calibre.
Yeah, no goals in his last 3. Kevin Nisbet obviously had that penalty saved up at Pittodrie last weekend, so just 2 goals in his last 10 after 8 and 7 after initially coming back from that serious cruciate injury he had, and no doubt he'll benefit again from a good pre-season, albeit a little bit uncertain as to where he'll spend pre-season, given he's just got 12 months left on his Hibernian contract, and there will be suitors once more. Millwall been rejected by the striker after an offer was accepted. Here come Hibs, and it is Nisbet giving chase, but McCrory will come out of his goal and clear up to the halfway line for Hadji. But Hibs certainly much more in the game now, much more even contest as Lundstrom slips and allows Stevenson to come forward for Hibernian, just looks to slip Johan, and it's a lovely ball. Johan's definitely got the beating of the Tavernier for pace, tries to skip it beyond the Rangers goalkeeper McCrory as he came out, comes off McCrory behind for a corner, and that's an interesting matchup on that Hibernian left. Johan's certainly a speedier player.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the 2 full-back of Rangers. Tavernier loves bombing on. We talked about is in that box. The last couple of minutes, Johan's run him. He just might just put him on his back foot a little bit and just say, I better give myself a couple of yards here to make sure I can match his pace.
Here's a corner from the left-hand side. Cadden flights it in, well attacked, and eventually it's Jago, but he's way over the top, well off target with the final header that came in. But certainly Hibernian looking a much better side in the last 10-15 minutes, and Rangers not having it their own way.
Johan, and we're talking about recruitment, you know, I always feel Hibs are a better team when McGeady's in the team. I don't know if McGeady will be here next year, especially with the form of Johan and the complete that left wing role. For me, being a Hibs man, I'm hoping that McGeady gets another year. If you can keep him fit and get him on the ball, you pay money to watch him.
Yeah, he's had a pretty dire time of it with injuries, hasn't he, since arriving at Easter Road. But certainly still, despite his advancing years, a very talented player. As Rangers trying to bring it out from the back, but after a really bright start from the visitors, they've found themselves in a real contest, as I suspect they would have expected coming here, knowing that Hibs desperately required the 3 points. I guess what you would say about Lee Johnson, going back to that, is if they finish third, that's a pretty impressive achievement, especially as you say, John, having just scraped into the top 6. But they've got a lot of work to do, 6 points behind Aberdeen coming into this game in hand. And it's a long time since they've beaten Rangers, 18 league games since they've won. Here's Lundstrom forward for Tavernier, almost at the byline, right hand side. Jago's at the front post to make the clearing header, and then Campbell tries to help it on for Cadden, but Raskan's back there to win it back for Rangers, and then King plays it square to Suter for Lundstrom on the halfway line. Tavernier still advanced, but he can't squeeze the pass through. Johan stretches out to knock it out of play. 27 minutes played, Hibernian 0, Rangers 0. Highlights of this one coming this evening, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel, but a really exciting end to the SWPL season before that, on both BBC Alaba and live at our website. We've got all the action. It's Rangers against Glasgow City on Alaba, as Hadji comes forward, left hand side of the penalty area. Jack in support, almost at the goal line, headed away by Fish. Campbell will get there before Hadji. He was dispossessed but unfairly, reckoned Alan Muir, who's close to the action, and it'll be a free kick to Hibs inside their own penalty area. 27.5 minutes played. Hibernian 0, Rangers 0.
I'm just going back to that contest we've got over on the far side, Tavernier and Johan. I'm just watching it because Rangers play so narrow up front. Johan's prepared to let Tavernier go forward, where he's just running on top of Lewis Stevenson. I'll handle that, and he's playing that wee half cheat role. And if he get it and get on the turnover and get to him, it'll be the right midfielder Lundstrom's job to get to him. And I think he's got the pace of him as well.
Here come Hibernian, lovely flick from Nisbet into the path of Campbell. Cadden in support as well, edge of the penalty area, just crowded out in the end. Cadden and Rangers knock it clear from Raskin to Cantwell with a lovely couple of touches, tries to find Sakala though, but Hanlon using all his experience to read the pass forward and comes away with possession, and now on the halfway line knocks it back to Stevenson. Between them they've got more than 1100 Hibernian appearances, and Stevenson also just being tied down to another 1-year deal as he tries to break into the top 3 of all-time appearance holders. I think Pat Stanton's the next one above him, and who knows, next season if he gets a good run at it, Lewis Stevenson could usurp him, and that is some claim to fame, as Lundstrom is filled in the middle of the park by Diego. Almost half an hour played, still no goals, and to be honest, after the first few minutes, no real threats to either goalkeeper.
Not really, no. Hibs have had a couple of half chances. Rangers started the game very brightly, but yeah, you're right, Hibs have come back into the game, starting to show a bit more control on the ball, a bit more purpose, and Rangers have been slack in possession the odd time as well, and they're struggling to create. I don't think Hadji's been involved as much as he'd like to be.
Here's Diego, fires it out to the right hand side. It's too much on it though for Egan Riley, who's one of the lone players alongside Will Fish that Lee Johnson has said he'd be keen to hold on to beyond the end of the season. I'm not sure whether that's a case of extending their loan deals or perhaps permanent signings, as they have done with Eli Yuan, but certainly he's been pleased with the impact both of those have made in the loans from Burnley and Man United respectively. I know Will Fisher said he certainly doesn't want to go back and play reserve team football again, having sampled the real thing.
Why would you?
Egan Riley playing it forward, but Jack there for Rangers to sweep it over the halfway line. Hanlon heads it to his right, Fish there before Cantwell, just a big up and under. McCrory will be able to gather that one pretty comfortably, and then just rolls it out to John Souttar. But just over the half-hour mark, no goals here at Easter Road between Hibernian and Rangers. There's Souttar angling the ball forward, looking for the run of Cantwell, who's right out on the left-hand side, looking to take on Egan Riley, who blocks off the first touch from Cantwell, and Alan Muir reckons he did that illegally and awards Rangers the free kick, left-hand side of the penalty area.
Not for me. I think Cantwell's first touch took him inside. I think it just got away from him a little bit, you know, and he just run into
I would
Egan
agree
Riley.
with you. I would agree with you, John. I think Cantwell bought it a wee bit, but the pass from John Souttar out to Cantwell was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's definitely got that in his locker, hasn't he, Souttar? Really good distribution. And Rangers do have a free kick in a pretty promising position, left-hand side of the penalty area, about 8 or 10 yards maybe left of the box, and about 15 yards maybe from the goal line. Tavernier and Hadji are the two players over it, just about 10 yards in from the touchline, really, on the left-hand side. Tavernier's right foot would certainly provide a test here for David Marshall, potentially. It is Tavernier, it goes for goal. Marshall's not kept it out. Outstanding from James Tavernier on the ground where he made his debut. On his 400th appearance, he has caught Marshall out at his near post, and it's Hibernian nil, Rangers 1.
It's an incredible goal, it really is. I mean, I thought he was just going to try and flash it across the face into the 6-yard box. He spots David Marshall, his left or right hand side of his post, open, as you probably would as a goalkeeper, because you're maybe not expecting him to do it, but we've seen so many times with James Tavernier in the past the quality he has in dead balls, and that is a sensational finish. But David Marshall will not be happy with that.
It's how he hits him.
He gets it up and down.
He gets it up and down so quick, and it comes in flat, and it comes in with pace on it. And as you say, that is just a wonderful goal. We've seen him do it numerous occasions, and the cheek to do it for there and put it in the top corner.
To even think about it,
yeah,
I mean,
unbelievable.
it's a phenomenal finish. To execute it the way that he did, the technique involved in that is just absolutely sensational.
It's goal number 101 for James Tavernier in his Rangers career. This is 18th of the season.
And Alistair, I was got to say, we were saying about Cantwell buying a free kick, and I was ready just to say sometimes this can be costly. Well, it wasn't half costly.
I suspect Lee Johnson will have something to say about that at full time, perhaps depending on the eventual outcome of the game. But if that proves pivotal or decisive, then I suspect the Hibs manager will have some frustration, shall we say, with the award, because it definitely came under, I think, the soft category, as Rangers come out from the back leading by 1-0. Their captain James Tavernier with an exquisite free kick. Audacious stuff from Tavernier. Well, he's produced some fabulous finishes in his time at the club, and that is right up there. And here's Hadji coming forward, looking to inflict more damage. It's Sakala, edge of the box, plays it square. Lundstrom takes it on first time, could possibly have set it himself, but he hits it well off target in the end. But it's Hibernian 0, Rangers 1.
Yeah, I mean, just when Hibs had got themselves kind of back into the game and they were settling down in the match, we were talking about the fact that Rangers hadn't really created much since the start of the game. That's going to be the frustration for Hibernian, especially to lose it from a set play when actually the free kick was debatable.
Marshall with a goal kick. Yeah, he will be disappointed. Goalkeeper of his calibre, beaten at his near post, just couldn't get across. He certainly got a glove to it. I'm not sure if it had crossed the line already, but all he could do was really help it into the back of the net. Yilmaz has been careless at the back and he's given it away to Newell. Newell plays it for Stevenson, midway inside the Rangers half. Now it's Yuan, left hand side. Tavernier just standing off him for the moment. Yuan to the edge of the box. Newell on the 18-yard line, manages to keep possession out to Stevenson. Stevenson with the first time ball. It's a good ball. Nisbet climbs. Was there a nudge in the back? Yeah, that was the indication from Alan Muir there. Says that Nisbet pushed his marker, and it's a free kick to Rangers inside their own penalty area. 10 minutes to the break.
Yeah,
Rangers 1.
Yeah, it was a great cross from Lou Stevenson. He whips it in, and there was a push. I have to be from where us we're looking down there, and just a wee two hands just to nudge him out the way to get the header in.
Here's Tavernier, goal scorer, out to Cantwell, right hand side, plays it forward for Lundstrom, well matched by Stevenson, making his 574th appearance. Raskan picks up for Rangers and drives them forward, tries to slip it for Sakala, almost comes back to Raskan fortuitously, but Hibs eventually pick up, and then Newell plays it back to Marshall, who clears from the edge of his 6-yard box up to the halfway line. Nisbet trying to pin Leon King, who does well to hold him. Nisbet's complaining, but it looked like good strength really from both of them, but King...
I would have said it was good defending.
Yeah. That's a lovely first touch from Hadji to keep the ball in play left-hand side, and now running at Egan Riley, slips it down the left for Jack. Jack almost at the goal line, turns back the way. Hadji, edge of the box, left-hand side, up against Egan Riley, looking to find room for the shot. Perhaps it's a poor pass to Cantwell, who was caught off balance, and now Yuan steps forward. Was he fouled by Raskan? That's what he claimed. That's what the Hibs fans rise to their feet to claim. But referee gives nothing, and it's Rangers who continue in possession. 9 minutes to the break, 1-0 they lead. Suter fires it out to the left-hand side. Jack in a good bit of space. Egan Riley puts his hands behind his back just inside the penalty area, but the pass goes back to Cantwell. Cantwell for Lundstrom, and then back to Cantwell once more. Alan Muir trying to get out of the way of a potential pass for Cantwell. He just turns it back inside for Suter. Suter finds Lundstrom at the edge of the penalty area, out right-hand side. Tavernier with a poor cross, and it's knocked away, but Rangers pick up once more, and they've definitely been in the ascendancy again since they got that opening goal. It's given them a burst of energy. As Cantwell comes forward, midway inside the Hibernian half, central area. Lundstrom back to Raskan, and now King steps forward. King was just had a little clip there from Nisbet. Referee let it go. Rangers cough up possession, win it back through Cantwell, then lose it again. Campbell, and then Newell fires it out to the left-hand side. Yuan in a decent spot here, just outside the box. Tavernier trying to get back with him. Yuan onto the right foot, looking to find room for the shot potentially. Lays it into the path of Newell, takes a deflection. McCrory goes up and collects inside his 6-yard box. The reflection came off John Suter, who slid in, and it was enough to take the sting out of the shot. And with 7.5 minutes of the first half left, it's Hibernian 0, Rangers 1.
Yeah, Alistair, if Hibs are going to get any success, it looks like it's down that left-hand side with Johan. You know, he's got the pace, he's cutting in there. Stevenson overlap. Newell going on overlap there and getting that shot away. They just need to keep hanging in there and keep believing.
It's definitely their biggest threat, isn't it? They haven't really had anything down this right-hand side with Cadden.
It's interesting that, you know, Ryan Jack drifting, he's just gone back in field now, Stephen, but he's drifting out to this left-hand side an awful lot, picking up a lot of space. The movement is, well, it's a very fluid Rangers formation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's, you know, it's not just Jack that's been doing it. Cantwell's been out in this left-hand side a lot of the game as well.
Here's Yilmaz in that position right now, playing it for Cantwell, left-hand side of the box, goes one way then the other. He goes down under the challenge of Diego, And if the one by Egan Riley was a free kick, then surely that's a free kick, or neither of them.
I think that's exactly why the Hibs fans are making their voices heard there. I mean, yeah, it was a similar area, a similar foul, if it was a foul, but the referee waved that one on.
Well, that's inconsistency for me, because either, as I say, both were fouls or neither were fouls. As Lindstrom goes in with the challenge on Ewan, it breaks off Lindstrom. So Hibs throwing over on the far side.
That's just telling me Alan will probably knows he got the Rangers one with the goal, probably got it wrong, and he's just let one or two things go for Hibs here. You know they do that, Alistair.
Oh,
They've got a habit of doing that, you know that.
If you say so, John, I can't possibly comment on that kind of thing.
No question of integrity, but part and parcel of the game.
Here's Egan Riley, halfway line, knocked out of play by Cantwell, who's just making the point down there to the fourth official, Graham Granger, about the infringement at Seesaw a moment ago. He was certainly in a good position as Diego and he collided. Diego and Raskan come together in the middle of the park. Diego goes down, but it breaks the way of Newell, who tries to play a little disguise pass inside for Ewan and just didn't get his angles right, and McCrory able to come out and gather with 5 minutes left of the first period. Rangers still lead by a goal to nil. A James Tavernier free kick, his 18th of the season, and catch that if you can on Sports Scene tonight at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. Well worth watching. Cantwell keeps the ball in play, claims for handball but nothing given as Rangers continue in possession. Raskan plays the ball back to King and then goes down to try and quickly tie his laces. Played forward by Suter, looking for Sakala. Sakala gets his head to it, does really well against Egan Riley actually to hold on to possession. Raskan's available again after having tied his boot. It goes back to Jack instead. Jack central area, lays it off to Lundstrom. Midway inside the Hibs half, comes forward and plays it square to Raskan. Raskan has Yilmaz outside of him. He's pleading for the ball there, the Turk, but it's back in field to Jack, who plays a nice disguised pass for Hadji, who steps away from Diego, goes down, looks for a free kick, doesn't get it. Ewan comes forward for Hibernian, plays it out to Nisbet, left hand side. Hibs trying to funnel bodies forward in support, angle of the box. Nisbet, oh, brilliant ball! Campbell, how did he miss? He just couldn't stretch and get enough on it to knock it into the back post. A wonderful ball in with the outside of the boot from Kevin Nisbet, and Campbell sliding in, knocks it past the post. Still Hibernian nil, Rangers 1.
He's got to score, John.
Yeah, he has to get the instep of that right boot on it, you know, and guide it back into the goal. Oh, to be fair to him, he was stretching, but he's brilliant at that. He makes those late runs, wants to score a goal. And as I say, Hibs need to hang in there, and these chances will appear just like that one.
Certainly their best opening of the game as they pick up possession once more through Hanlon on the halfway line. Ewan back to Newell, and Newell sprays play out to Cadden. Cadden up against Yilmaz, midway inside the Rangers half, looks to play the 1-2 with Campbell, almost at the goal line. First time ball into the Rangers box from Cadden, away by King. Poor header from Cantwell, gives possession right back to Campbell, who should have brought Hibs level a few moments ago, as he did in the first meeting of the sides in injury time here to make it 2-2. As Cadden sweeps it in once more, McCrory comes out, collects that one pretty comfortably just at the edge of his 6-yard box, and immediately bowls it out underarm to Raskan. Rangers can come forward once more, leading by a goal to nil, but should have been level after a really terrific ball from Kevin Nisbet.
It was so good. I mean, I thought he was going to try and take the shot on, but the outside of the right foot flashed it across the face. I mean, it's only a yard out when Campbell gets there. He is sliding, but I feel he's got to get enough on it to turn it into the goal.
Here's Raskan halfway line, plays it back to Suter just inside his own half. Steps over the halfway line now, plays a short ball to Hadji and then gets it back. Suter, the former Hearts man, tries to arrow that out for the advancing Yilmaz. Now on the goal line, Yilmaz, opportunity to pick out a teammate. Sakala arriving late, he leaps so well, but his connection takes the header past the post, and it's still Hibernian nil, Rangers 1.
Yeah, I'm just looking at John Suter there, as Tomo says earlier on, he's found his range on that diagonal.
Distribution's been brilliant this afternoon. That was a fabulous pass, and the ball in was good as well. Sakala, as you say, is good in the air. He jumped high but couldn't get any direction on the header. But yeah, Suter, when you've got a player like that playing in your team that can play those defence splitting passes, 40-50 yard passes, and put people straight through in behind opposition defences, it's a real weapon.
It's the kind of ball that Connor Goldson likes to play as well, and Suter occupying that right centre-back role.
Yeah, I'd say Suter's better at it than Goldson, I would say.
It's certainly an area of John Suter's game that has always been impressive, regardless of where he's been playing his football, and Hearts benefited from that for a number of years. And Rangers fans will hope he can stay fit and become a real part of Michael Beale's side going forward.
Yeah, Lester, no matter what team you support, if you're a football guy, you're wanting John Suter to stay injury-free and go on to have the career that he deserves to have.
Here come Rangers. Sakala, though, stopped in his tracks by Fish. Good challenge. Back with Egan Riley. Plays it back to his goalkeeper into the final minute of the 45, and sounds like there's going to be a minute added on as Newell robs Lundstrom in the middle of the park. Suter taking a chance there. King will have to play that forward first time, and it's Joe Newell closing John Suter down, and he did manage to get the pass away, but a few fluttering of hearts, I would imagine, among the Rangers management team on the touchline there, as Suter just got the pass away in time. Back with Marshall. 1-0 Rangers lead coming up to half-time. It's Egan Riley, right-hand side for Hibernian. Infield for Diego. Back with Egan Riley. Sakala trying to close Fish down. Fish plays it first time. Leon King will have all the time in the world to let that bounce, and he'll bring it under control and play it square to John Suter midway inside his own half. And then plays a short ball for Lundstrom out to the left. There is the 1 minute board, 1 minute on the board from Graham Granger, the fourth official, and we are just stepping into that right now. Rangers with the advantage, but it's been a pretty closely matched game for the most part. Rangers starting very well and probably finishing better in this first half as well, but Hibs have had their chances. Here's Sakala though. Is there an opportunity for a second for our Rangers just before the break? Tavernier held up by Ewan, but gets the pass back to Raskin, but 35 from goal. Back with Cantwell. Cantwell steps forward, takes the shot on, it's blocked by the head of Fish, breaks out Tavernier's way, gets it back, bounced off Ewan. Hibs fans again claiming for a handball off Tavernier there, nothing given. It's with Yilmaz now. Yilmaz sends it in. Marshall should come and claim that. He does, and that should be just about that, although he bowls it out for Ewan. It might just be a late attack here for Hibernian in the closing seconds of injury time. Ewan, forward he comes on, he's got into traffic. That's a really bad bit of decision making by Ewan, with Stevenson bursting a gut to get forward and other options inside of him. He lost the ball and the chance was gone, and so Alan Muir brings the first half to a close, and it's Rangers who do have the advantage. They hit the bar inside the first 3 minutes. John Suter with a looping header which just came off the woodwork, and then Sakala had a shot saved. Nisbet flashed the header just wide midway through the half as Hibernian began to come back into the game as the half progressed, but then James Tavernier stepping up just after the half-hour mark. The free kick award was made as Cantwell went down under the challenge from Egan Riley. It was a somewhat controversial award, you might say, but Tavernier stepped up regardless. Left-hand side of the box. He had absolutely no right to go for goal, but he did so, and he beat David Marshall at his near post with a fabulous effort. And although Josh Campbell could and perhaps should have drawn Hibernian level 4 minutes before the break, as Nisbet found him with a brilliant ball in from the left, Campbell just couldn't stretch far enough to knock the ball in at the back post, knocking wide instead, which is why at Easter Road at half-time the scoreline stands Hibernian 0, Rangers 1.
This is Sports Sound
from BBC Radio Scotland.
It all comes down to the final round of fixtures.
You have 3 teams who deserve to win the title. Glasgow City, they have so much history in women's football.
Priscilla Chinchilla can keep them en route for the title.
Rangers, who had the title last year.
And what a way for Rangers to open the scoring on a big afternoon.
And then Celtic are in excellent form.
Celtic's title hopes alive again.
The Scottish Women's Premier League.
Now is the time for us to make history.
Today from 4.
This title race goes down to the final day.
Rangers versus Glasgow City.
Watch on BBC Alapa.
Celtic versus Hearts.
Online at BBC Sports Scotland.
It promises to be a dramatic conclusion to the SWPL season. Those matches both available, as you heard there, Celtic Hearts. It's the live streams. You'll get that on BBC Sports Scotland website, so bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. And if you tune in to BBC Alapa on the telly, Rangers against Glasgow City. Both the matches kick off at 4:10. The Rangers-Glasgow City match, there is the offer of English commentary on the red button, and all the highlights will be with Jane tomorrow night on the highlights programme 7 o'clock on the BBC Scotland channel. You'll also get all the weekend's Premiership highlights tonight 7:15 on the same channel. That will include the action from Easter Road. Hibernian 0, Rangers 1. James Tavernier, top scorer for Rangers this season now with 18 goals. That's him just ahead of Antonio Cholak. 101 scored in his 400 Rangers appearances. We'll talk more about him shortly. Let's just get the reflections on the game then. Our commentary team, of course, Al Lamont taking a well-earned rest. He'll be back in time for the second half to get up and running. John Hughes and Stephen Thompson there alongside him. Tom, are Rangers deserving of that advantage?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think there's been a lot in the game. I don't think there's been a massive amount of chances created. Rangers certainly started the game the better side. Hibs kind of grew into it, and the goal came at a really bad time for Hibernian, because they were just starting to get a bit of confidence in the game. They look at a threat on the counter-attack when they can get Yuan down that left-hand side, as John said in commentary. But, you know, you just don't know what you're going to get from him there. That last one where he's got the counter-attack on, he's got 3 or 4 runners to play a pass and he just runs into bodies. Other times he looks brilliant with a cross in for the Nisbet header. But actually, the chance that, I mean, you'll have seen it better. You'll have had a replay maybe on the television at the back post for Campbell. I mean, for me, he's got to score it. You know, I know he's stretching, but I think he's just got to get enough on it to put it away. The other kind of contentious issue was the free kick that led to Tavernier's goal, I suppose. I mean, we felt it was soft from our view up here in the stand. Obviously, we've not had an opportunity to look at replays, but regardless of that, for Tavernier to do what he did from that angle is just phenomenal technique. I mean, you know, to even think about taking the shot on from there is incredible. To execute it is another thing. It was a fabulous goal, and you know, to mark his 400th appearance for the club, to score a goal like that, it really has been a sensational player for Rangers.
Well, let's just talk about him, and then we'll get back to the goal, because I'm keen to get both your thoughts on that. And I've obviously had the benefit of watching a replay too, but for Tavernier, that's 101 goals in those 400 appearances. In terms of the league, he has now scored in the last 6 seasons 8, 14, 3, don't know what happened in 1920, 12, 9 and 16 league goals. So it's 63 Premiership goals all told. Only 4 players since the Premiership was introduced a decade ago have scored more goals than James Tavernier. Lee Griffiths, Alfredo Morelos, Odsonne Edouard and Adam Rooney. He's ahead of the likes of Liam Boyce and Billy Mackay and Chris Boyd and Chris Doolan and Niall McGinn and James Forrest. I mean, it's sensational, isn't it?
Everyone that you mentioned, Richard, they're all strikers. He's a fullback doing that. It's unbelievable.
I tell you, the next highest goal scorer, let me just quickly get down my list here. Your next highest goal scorer, defender, is Andrew Considine, who's got 23.
And he's ancient. But unbelievable for any young kid watching football. Just have a look at this guy's technique. The way he hits it, the way he gets it up, down, the pace on it, it comes in flat. It's unbelievable. And we're sitting right behind it. And I did, for one moment, I'm sitting looking at it and saying, he's not got to go for goal. We thought he was just going to whip it in, and he's had the cheek just to step up to it, one step and put that whip on it, and it just goes down Marshall, all up, hands up, right in the top corner. Marshall scrambling across, couldn't get to it. And I think Marshall gave him that look if to go, I should have known what was coming, because he's got that quality in abundance.
Well, that's what I wondered, I've got to say, because you boys both said it. You said we know what James Tavernier is capable of. We know that David Marshall is a quality goalkeeper, no question about that. For me, I think he's got to save that. I think you have to separate it. It's an outstanding piece of skill from Tavernier, but David Marshall gets across to it.
Does he? I mean, I thought he was already in the goal by the time he got it.
It may just be. But part of it, I'm going to say, looking at it, part of it, what I wonder is that David Marshall is conscious of the goalpost.
Maybe.
Getting very close to him as he's diving across.
Richard, David, go back to what I says there. If you know it's Tavernier over the free kick, you're actually saying, you have to know your players, and you're saying he's more than capable of doing what he's just done. I just might edge that wee bit nearer to my near post. And so he's over it, and you're saying it just gave him just too much to aim at, and he's just took it.
Look, it's brilliant, but I do think that Lee Johnson, that David Marshall Tomo will be a little disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I said that in commentary. You know, he probably will be. I mean, I think first and foremost you've got to talk about the technique for the goal. Sensational, but David will feel as though he maybe shouldn't have left as big a target. I'd need to look at the wall set up again to see what happened there. But I mean, a wall almost doesn't matter when Tavernier's there, because he can get it up and down so quickly.
The whole Fulham game, the last one, the one before, the free kick against Joe Hart, the exact same, isn't it? Although it's a bit straighter, that's that. The way he hits it, it just gets it up and it comes down so flat, boom, back of the net.
It's difficult to do, there's no doubt about that. But yeah, you're right, I think Marshall will be disappointed with that. I mean, we said in commentary, Lee Johnson will probably be bringing up the fact that he didn't think it was a foul. What did it look like on the telly, Richard?
No, again, at the time I hadn't actually, because I was concentrating on listening to you guys, and I'm on a slight delay, so I'd missed it, but I've seen it since. It's not a free kick for me.
Right.
He's Todd Cantwell, and we've seen Cantwell do this in his short time in Scottish football. He again tries to jink past. He almost throws himself into the player and tumbles to the ground. So I can understand.
Soft. Yeah, it looked soft.
And you're right, and Al was right in the commentary. There was one a little bit later.
That's right.
Was very similar.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't given. And obviously the Hibernian fans were raging with that, and Alistair rightly points out either both are or neither are. You know, so yeah, there'll be a frustration about that. But I think Hibernian have shown enough in that first half to suggest that they can create opportunities in the second to get back into the game. Rangers out with that Tavernier goal, the Sakala header, I suppose. The corners at the start of the game, but out with that in open play, they've not really cut Hibs open, so I don't think it'll be, you know, I think Hibernian will be reasonably positive that they can come out in this second half and cause problems for Rangers. It's just about getting the ball in the back of the net, I suppose.
Well, yeah, and they should have done John through Kevin Nisbet. It was a very, very good chance. It was actually wonderful play by Johan, who in every game shows you I think the highs and lows of what he's capable of, but he took Tavernier eventually to the cleaners, having turned him inside out. Wonderful cross, and Nisbet really had to score, didn't he?
Yeah, he should have got, as Tomo says, he should have got more on it. It certainly hit the target, but Johan's got that in him. You know, he's becoming a fan's favourite. Great bit of business to get him tied up, and it's just his end product. Will he get more goals playing centre forward instead of out wide? Probably, in terms of, because he does play on the shoulder, and once he gets open those legs, there's no catching him. But as I say, that's Hibs' best way back in the game. It's all down the left-hand side. He's got a wee habit of playing that wee cheating role, and when you get the ball to him, he just takes off. Lewis Stevenson, I have to say, will be in there having words with him, because the last break Hibs had, it got to him. He took it a 40-yard run, and Lewis Stevenson really got there, you know, 80 yard to get on overlap. Johan's cut inside and lost the ball, and that for any overlapping fullback's very frustrating. And it's just these wee things, Richard, that he just has to get better at. Just, you know, just looking after the ball, bringing in the players into the game, and that final product, that cross, that cut back. But a wonderful player, wonderful talent, two-footed, left and right footed, and got a goal in him. So good bit of business to getting him tied up from Hibs.
Have Hibs done enough, John, to get Kevin Nisbet into the game? The two real involvements he's had was the header, which he put past, and then that wonderful cross with the outside of his right foot for Campbell. And Campbell, Tomo was right, Campbell had to score.
No, I've always says, and sitting looking at Hibs a number of times, I don't think Kevin Nisbet's an out-and-out centre forward up there leading the line himself. I think he needs a foil up there, and him drop into that number 10 and into between these pockets. It just so happens the way Rangers are set up, he has to play it. And previous games also, he's just found himself playing up there, and he's come back really well. I seen him against Hearts here, and he was outstanding, really outstanding, leading the line very well. He's a fantastic footballer, really is a fantastic footballer. Today, because Rangers are outnumbering in midfield, he has to drop back in and try and help and get a roundabout Raskin. Rangers are dominating the game. Hibs will know that in terms of you're going to have to suffer, and it's on the turnover. If Rangers are a bit sloppy in their passing or their control, Hibs get on the front foot, and if they can get it to Johan, then they take off and get up the pitch, and that's or to Kevin Nisbet, and that's where the chance comes. The thing about Nisbet, he can score goals, he can make goals, he's a real good, clever footballer, and I'd be a very happy guy, Hibs supporter, like Louis Stevenson, if they got Nisbet tied up for another couple of years.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, you would imagine, Tom, that is a priority.
Richard, honestly, I'm about, and I hear it, and I would love it for it to happen, but it's a little bit like Porteous as well, in terms of you should have done the business with Porteous a few years previous and gave him the money that they offered him.
If he's only got a year left, John, Hibs have got to say to themselves, do we cash in here and get the money?
Exactly. And
I think for the player as well, as much as he...
But Tom, and what I'm alluding to, all the new players coming in are seemingly on better wages than him, and he's sort of saying to himself, well, if you want me to stay here, then put me up the same as him, and then I'll look to stay. And that's not been the case. And I believe that wasn't the case with Porteous either.
Yeah, but if a club, let's say in the Championship down south, does want to come in from, he probably can treble his wage by moving down south, and you can't pass that opportunity if it arises for you.
As a player, he can't, and Hibs can't. Good bit of business.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think that he would go in the summer if it suits all parties, which is going to be a big miss for Hibs, and that's going to be where John's talking about the recruitment.
Yeah,
it's going to be massive for Hibernian to try and get a replacement that's going to be able to score regular goals for Hibernian like Kevin Nisbet's done.
As for this afternoon, 45 minutes to go, Tom, do you see enough, or have you seen enough from Hibernian to suggest that they can get back into this one? They can cause Rangers problems?
They've created the best chance in the match, the one at the back post, and as John says, down that left-hand side, when Johan gets free from Tavernier being too high, then he's created a couple of half chances. They look to me as though they could score in this second half, but what they need to make sure is that Rangers don't. If Rangers score another one, it's going to be a very long way back for them, that's for sure.
But they have to have that confidence, John, and they also have to have that belief, because they know if they can, well, certainly if they can get a win in this, my goodness, that really does enhance their chances of European football.
Yeah, it brings it, as I say, the tactic, they'll know they'll have to go out there and they'll suffer because Rangers will keep the ball. They'll probably, the tactic they've got it spot on. They'll get encouraged with a chance at the made for Campbell, Nisbet, and you always have to keep believing and hanging in there. The last, if it's still 1-0 with 20 minutes to go, I would imagine Hibs maybe make one or two substitutions and really try to go for it. You've got nothing to lose, Richard. That's what I was saying at the start of the game. This is a must-win game. You've got nothing to lose. That prize of getting that third spot in the SPL takes you right into the group stages. They reckon that's about 5 or 6 million.
Yeah.
So why leave it on the pitch? Go for it. Go and try and get the win. And if you lose a goal, try to do that, then I think the fans will understand that you've had a right go. So hopefully they can hang in there and take the game to Rangers more in the second half.
It is a James Tavernier free kick. Where have you heard that before? That separates the sides. 18th goal of the season for the Rangers skipper. Hibernian 0, Rangers 1. Live second half commentary from Easter Road. It's Sports Sound live on BBC Radio Scotland with Stephen Thompson, John Hughes and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. James Tavernier marked his debut here with a free kick into the goal at the famous 5-stand end of the ground, and he's marked his 400th appearance with something similar. And that is the difference you see between the sides as Hibs get us back underway. They go from right to left as we look at it from the back of the main stand in this second period. And as John points out, they need to kind of go for broke at some stage. A couple of points ahead of St Mirren, and 4 behind Hearts, 6 behind Aberdeen in the quest for Europe. They have got a free kick in the early seconds of this second half. midway inside the Rangers half, right hand side, and a chance for Joe Newell to put this into a dangerous area, at least as Rangers look to try and hold a line along the 18-yard box. And Hibs looking for a leveller here. Newell with the left foot sweeps into the back post. It's Tavernier who does get his head to it, not entirely clear, but Hadji helps it on, and Sakala will try and bring it out of the air, and he gets the break of the ball off Diego and manages to knock it back to Jack, who turns and plays it to Ridvan Yilmaz. Neither side have made any changes at the interval. Brian McLaughlin's our pitch side reporter and will keep us abreast of anything that's happening down there in terms of substitutions over the course of this second period, as the ball goes out for a Hibernian throw-in down below us. Hibs left as Campbell battles away with the Cantwell. Campbell will feel no doubt that he should have drawn his side level. Gets a free kick, plays it quickly, looking for Nisbet. Leon King though, good awareness, and cuts out the danger as Raskan picks up and plays it to Tavernier. Halfway line, Tavernier gives it away to Diego, who's looking to find Raskan again, but Diego plays it out to the right hand side for Cadden. Chance to run at Yilmaz, comes inside with the ball, but 30 yards from goal. Nisbet can't keep it, and Yilmaz has fouled, reckons Alan Muir, the referee, and awards Rangers the free kick about 30 yards from their own goal. And with a couple of minutes on the clock in the second period, it's Hibernian 0, Rangers 1. No obvious change tactically. I'm sure the guys beside me will make their own assertions on that, but it looks very much as you were at the close of the first period. As Rangers come forward down the right hand side, Tavernier looking to get the better of Ewan, but Ewan has robbed him of possession and he was being dragged back by the Rangers captain. Ewan takes the free kick quickly, plays it into Newell, and then it's Fish out to the right hand side for Egan Riley. Back with Fish, 15 yards inside his own half. Now Hanlon for Stevenson, closed down by Cantwell, who was still complaining that he should have had a second free kick for the challenge of Diego at half time. Noticed him having words with the referee.
Yeah, both teams just giving it away now. You know, just need to get a hold of the ball, make a few passes, get yourself settled back into the second half.
Hanlon plays it square for Fish, who tries the diagonal looking for Ewan. It's another good ball. Ewan steps away from Tavernier into the penalty area, steps away from Lindstrom. Tavernier trying to get back at him. Good challenge by John Suter, breaks away Joe Newell, edge of the box, clips it to the back post. Cadden rises, out comes McCrory. Nisbet with a header, wide. The Hibs fans thought it was creeping in, but it's gone wide somehow, and it's still Hibernian 0, Rangers 1.
Yeah, unbelievable once again. Great diagonal. Johan gets it down, gets it. Tavernier gets at him, gets the shot away, gets blocked eventually. You know, after a second it comes in. Goalkeeper McCrory can't deal with it. Nisbet gets above him, gets a header. How that never crept in?
I thought it was in.
I thought it was in. I was just watching. It was that slow, it's not going to bulge your net, but you're saying that's in the back of the net, across the line, past the post.
It was great block, two great blocks from John Suter from the shots from Eli Ewan, and then the stand-up ball to the back post was won well by Cadden, back across the face of goal. I don't think Robbie McCrory covered himself in glory coming out for it, and Nisbet won the header. It was slow motion stuff, but yeah, it must have been an inch past the post.
It wasn't far away, that's for sure. What I wasn't quite clear about was whether a free kick had been awarded there or whether it was just the goal kick, as Sakala flashes it into the Hibs penalty area. Almost a brilliant bit of skill there from Cantwell, but he just didn't quite execute it properly, and then ball breaks up towards the halfway line. Raskan fouled by Nisbet, but yeah, McCrory's just had a couple of shaky moments. He's played well in the appearances so far for Rangers.
Yeah, Lester, I was going to touch on that. He has to make sure when he's coming with that and he's coming to punch, he has to make sure he's getting on that ball. Cannot get out-muscled or out-jumped with anyone. That you have to dominate that 6-yard box.
Rangers take the free kick. Kevin Nisbet and his manager Lee Johnson not happy about the award. Maybe feel that some of these slightly 50-50 decisions are going against them. They trail by a goal to nil as Ryan Jack fires the ball out to the left-hand side. It's a good ball for Yilmaz. Yilmaz takes a touch, sends it to the back post. Too much on it for Sakala, and Stevenson will be able to deal with that, although he's only knocked it off Tavernier, and it breaks the way of Cantwell, who tries to chip it over the Hibs defence. The Rangers player lying prone.
Raskin.
Yeah, he's taken a knock and he's holding his right thigh, it would appear. As Hibs clear the ball and Suter will just nod it down to Jack, who knocks it out of play and allows Raskan.
It's from the challenge that was made on him a couple of minutes ago by Nisbet, and when it happened it didn't look like a bad foul at all, but you can see Raskan was feeling a wee bit of discomfort. He's holding his right knee. The physios are on now, but he's clearly not happy. I'd imagine he'd be coming off the pitch. But I mean, the tackle itself, you know, it couldn't have been from tackling. Maybe just twisted his knee, or I don't really know, but there certainly wasn't any force in the tackle.
Brian McLaughlin, news of potential change coming?
Yeah, there looked to be minimal contact. However, there was certainly a knock on Raskan just below the knee, and Scott Arfield is the player getting ready now, so he'll be coming on. He'll be replacing Nicholas Raskan.
Thanks, Brian. Our man pitch side as Raskan continues to get treatment, but looks like his game is up. He's been a good addition though on the whole in his first few months in Scottish football. Stephen, do you expect to see more and even better from him?
He's been really impressive, so composed on the ball, very, very clever footballer. He can play a number of positions in that midfield area, but yeah, this is a concern for Rangers. What they really don't want, and I know we're coming to the end of the season, is for an injury to a key player who they're building towards next season for. Hopefully it's just a wee knock and he'll be okay, but yeah, I've been very impressed with him.
Scott Arfield to come on. John Hughes, a player you know well. You had him back at Falkirk in his early days, and do you see, I mean, he's out of contract at Ibrox this season as well. Do you think he's got another year in him at Rangers?
Oh, certainly got another year in him. It depends what. It's all about finances. Do you use Scotty's wages to go and get a better younger player, or will Scotty take a wage cut just to stay in that dressing room? Knowing Scotty Arfield, he'll want to play every week, no matter if it is Glasgow Rangers. One thing I'll say about him, he's a manager's dream. Manager's dream. I remember when Steven Gerrard was there, he wasn't getting a game. I phoned him up, I just says, you know what to do, Scotty, you don't bang on a manager's door. Right, fair enough. 2 weeks later, he was back in the team. Steven Gerrard's in the press saying, if they could all be like Scotty Arfield, done his talking on the training pitch. A manager's dream. And anything he gets out of football, he's had a wonderful career. And, you know, and he's a real good, hard-working lad. Great teammate. And he'll be a senior figure in that dressing room. That's why I think you might have to keep him another year just to play that role.
Yeah, well, he's on for Raskan, as Brian told us he would be. The 34-year-old now, and it's out of play for a Rangers goal kick as Hibs trying to come forward down the right-hand side. He's only started a couple of games under Michael Beale, but he's come on in a lot of them. And well, depending on how Michael Beale has spoken about the overhaul that he feels is required at Rangers over the summer, but Scott Arfield will be a valuable player for someone next season, whether it's at Rangers or elsewhere, but still managed to get 9 goals this season, mainly from the bench, and he's earned himself a free kick here, a late challenge by Egan Riley on him on the halfway line, and it's a free kick to Rangers. 9 minutes played in this kind of stop-start second half so far. Rangers still with a 1-goal advantage, but Kevin Nisbet coming mightily close.
Yeah, the two best chances in the match have been for Hibernian. That'll give them hope, whilst it's still 1-0.
There's Lundstrom trying to lift it over the top for Sakala, breaks for Hadji, blocked, claims for handball, Hadji, goal! Came back to him on the left foot, he fires it low, past David Marshall and into the bottom corner, and Rangers stretch the lead. It's Hibernian now, Rangers 2.
It's a ball over the top. I think, who was it in the midfield? Was it Lundstrom?
Lundstrom, yeah.
Clipped over the top, and it's on the head of the centre half. Fish, his headers, you need to head it out of danger, head it high, it gives you a look, head it to the left, clear your lines. He heads it down, sets it up for Hadji, steps on it, gets a little bit lucky, gets a second attempt at it on that left foot, bottom corner.
Yeah, it's a poor clearance, it really is, from Will Fish. I think Lewis Stevenson was saying as much to him straight after it. He's got to get height and distance on his header.
But even saying that as a centre forward, Tom, you're Sakala, I'm a centre half, it gets played up, you're backing into me, into me, keeping that ball alive.
That's true, yeah. You know, he was under pressure, but you still expect a better headed clearance when it does fall to Hadji, who I think's had a kind of indifferent game. He managed to get his second bite of the cherry and made no mistake with that into the bottom corner past David Marshall, and you know, as I said just moments ago, Hibs have had the best chances in the match, but they're 2-0 down.
Here they come trying to do something about it, but a wayward pass. That's Yanis Hadji's first goal since coming back. He was out for over a year with a bad knee injury, and his first goal since the 18th of January last year when he scored against Aberdeen. And he, like John Suter I was talking about earlier, will look to get a good pre-season under his belt and come back stronger for next season. But he's fired his side, 2 goals in front. You feel that, you said at half-time Rangers probably were good value for their lead. Is that slightly flatter than the 2-goal lead, Stephen?
I mean, possibly, because Hibernian, as I said, have had the better chances, but Rangers have had a lot more control than Hibs in the game in terms of possession, but you'd expect that anyway. I don't think Hibernian will be happy with that goal in the manner that they conceded it, or with the first goal. So, you know, to beat Rangers or Celtic, you have to have almost a perfect performance, and what you can't do is give away cheap goals. And I'm not saying that Tavernier's goal is cheap, but certainly the free kick and the build up to it, and maybe David Marshall could have done better, but they've not helped themselves there any.
Yeah, and the problem Hibs have got now, you'll see Rangers dominating the football, albeit a lot of it might be in their own half. Hibs will have to go and press and try and get it off them, and that's what Rangers will want. As soon as Hibs go and press, then they'll jump the lines. As soon as Hibs jump, they'll jump the lines and get in.
It's Rangers' third visit to Easter Road this season. 4-1 winners last time out after a 2-2 draw earlier in the season, back in August, when both Lundstrom and Morelos saw red for Rangers. Lundstrom one was later rescinded, if you remember. Here they come once more. It's Yilmaz getting the ball into the box, high in the air, off the boot of Fish. Cantwell will try and keep it alive. Jago there trying to get it clear only as far as Tavernier, who plays it square to Arfield. Arfield helps it out back to the left hand side, and it's Yilmaz who play it back in field for Scott Arfield, 35 yards from goal, tries to arrow it towards Tavernier at the back post. Stevenson gets it clear. Jack steps in and picks up possession in the midfield into the feet of Sakala. Back with Jack. Newell trying to close him down, but Rangers play around him and still have possession through Leon King just inside his own half. 13 minutes gone in the second half. Rangers have a 2-goal advantage. Tavernier with a deadly free kick in the first half, and then Yanis Hadji just a few moments ago lashing the ball past Marshall to make it 2-0. And Rangers do have control of the game.
This is proper football we're watching. I know there's 2-0 up, but even in the first half, Rangers, proper football, just sloppy at times in possession and in their touch. They're 2-0 up. This is proper football we're watching. That's why I take my hat off to Michael Beale, and I love him being in Scotland. He's a proper football coach. He wants his team to pass the ball, get on it, play out for the back, play through the lines, and that's what Scotland needs. All credit to them. You know, proper football team.
Brian McLaughlin, I think we're having at least a couple of Hibs changes away.
I think there's going to be 3 in total. The players being replaced: Chris Cadden, Jimmy Jago and Josh Campbell coming onto the pitch. Jake Doyle-Hayes, Ewan Henderson, and the man with a colourful hairstyle this evening, it's actually pink hair tonight for Harry McCurdy.
Brian, I think you should get your hair like that, to be honest.
I've not got enough hair to get my hair like that.
It's also the afternoon, right?
It is afternoon.
Yeah.
It's been a long weekend though, Tomo, as you know.
Is that the same colour as Hibs goalkeeper? Right, same hairstyle.
It could be a clash here, yeah.
Looked like a handball from Doyle-Hayes there as he comes into the fray, but he gets away with it, plays it forward down the left-hand side. So triple change from Lee Johnson as he looks to change the flow of the game. We will have a throw in. Will that mean a change in shape, do you think, John, or just kind of like for like swaps?
No, it'll be like for like until they see for the next 10 minutes. Get fresh legs on there. But as I say, I'll keep saying they'll need to keep their shape, or Rangers will, you know, pass around about them and break on them.
Yeah, they're trying to break on them right now. It's Arfield, left-hand side. Looks to lift it over for Sakala. Just can't quite get there. Marshall out to the very edge of his box to clutch that. With Sakala looking to try and latch onto the Arfield pass. Still 2-0 with an hour played. Hibs pick up through Henderson, who fires out to Ewan, who's switched flanks with McCurdy playing left now and Ewan on the right. And there's Doyle-Hayes, but it's a breakdown in communication between him and Ewan, and out for a Rangers throw-in, and that all just plays into the hands of Rangers, who have the 2-goal advantage.
This could be a big half an hour for guys like Henderson and McCurdy. They've never since they've come, you know, really got in that first team. And half an hour to go, if you could go and then press, you know, and get yourself in the team for now at the end of the season, you know, it'll do you no harm whatsoever.
Here's Ewan, edge of the penalty area. As Hibs come forward, gets it back from Henderson. Ewan once more clips it into the box, away with the head of Suter, up towards Sakala. Sakala manages to keep a hold of the ball, plays it to Hadji, and then Lundstrom, and Lundstrom will turn and drive over the halfway line, just nudges it to his right where Hadji's still in support. Sakala further right of him, about 35 yards from the goal line, knocks it back to Tavernier, and now infield for Jack. Cantwell challenged by Doyle Hayes, but gets the pass off to Jack. Now Hadji, and Rangers just keeping the ball and not forcing anything. And Lundstrom with a poor pass though to McCurdy. McCurdy's caught by Tavernier. Hibs free kick midway inside their own half. 16.5 minutes played in the second period. Hibernian 0, Rangers 2. Here's Fish at the back for Hibernian. He leaves it square to Hanlon, and now Newell. You'd have to feel if Hibs can't turn this around, that third place is definitely gone, and even fourth will be a stretch. They do go to Tynecastle on the last day of the season. If it's Celtic here on Wednesday, which will clearly be the proverbial big ask.
St Mirren will be looking at them 2 points behind with a trip to Aberdeen on Wednesday.
And why not? Here's McCurdy, slips it to Henderson, gets it back. McCurdy, oh, it's a good sliding challenge from Tavernier. It looked like McCurdy had got the better of him, goal side, but the Rangers captain recovered well.
Yeah, good play for McCurdy. Every time I've seen him, albeit it's been coming on as a substitute, he looks lively, it looks like he's a good footballer. I was saying to Tomo before the game, it was different class doing at Swindon, scored goals, and I'm just hoping he can have that kind of career here at Hibs.
It's a corner kick, left-hand side, to be taken by Henderson. Back post ball, well defended by Leon King. Breaks to the right-hand side for McCurdy, who can't get the cross in, and he's pulling back Jack, but Jack continues down the left-hand side. Does well to get the ball to Cantwell, who just drops a shoulder and moves clear of his marker and plays it to the right-hand side. It's Tavernier, and Rangers coming forward looking for a third, which should surely kill Hibernian off, even with over 25 minutes to play. Sakala fouled according to the assistant referee down below is Graham Stewart, and it will be a free kick to Rangers, right-hand side, a couple of yards in from the touchline. Another chance to load the box and try and get that third goal.
Yeah, certainly Tavernier over it.
He's still having a go from here, John.
No, certainly no. But you're wondering, Hadji over there with that sweet left foot, you know, this one will get played into the box, and you know, just get flighted in there, whipped in, and see if somebody in that box can go and get their head on it.
Will be either Hadji or Tavernier to take. Just some instructions coming on from the touchline as Michael Beale right on the sideline there.
It's to Lundstrom, and just to try. He's just looking to change his shape, I think, Michael Beale. He's got it on, so we'll see what happens after this free kick.
Tavernier with the right or Hadji with the left. From the right-hand side, it is Hadji to curl it in, back post, an inviting ball. Marshall with two good fists to the ball and knocks it away out on the far side for a throw into Rangers, but a good delivery from Hadji, maybe just a little bit close to the keeper.
Yeah, it was just a touch close to the goalkeeper, but it was a really nice delivery. Yeah, plenty of pace in the ball.
Rangers in no hurry to do anything right now. They don't need to force the game with 25 left to play with a 2-goal advantage. Throw in on the left to be taken by Yilmaz into the feet of Cantwell. Cantwell plays it back to Jack, and then it's Yilmaz once more midway inside the Hibs half. Cantwell picks up once more and lofts it into the penalty. That's definitely too close to Marshall, and it's an easy take for the keeper, who rolls it out to Henderson, plays it back to the left back Lewis Stevenson, and now McCurdy, who you wouldn't miss on a dark night down Leithway.
I just noticed he's got matching boots to match the hair, the colour of the hair, pink and pink.
What would you have to say if one of your players came in with pink hair, John?
Well, in the old days, it was all black boots. Nowadays, the way society has gone, everyone to their own, get battered in, you know. We used to get told if you've any colour of boots at all, you have on a manager's view, must be some player if you're brave enough to wear their colour of boots.
It took me a while to get coloured boots. I had white boots at the end of my career.
You were always a fancy Dan, Tom, weren't you?
To be fair, my son's in the St Mirren Academy and they're not allowed to wear coloured boots until they move up into the first team area.
I think that should be in all academies, even in the apprenticeship. The footballers stop doing the jobs, you know, cleaning it.
Here's Sakala going for goal as we get back to the serious stuff. Good stop from Marshall, straight at him, to be fair, but Sakala got plenty of power behind the effort. Still Hibernian 0, Rangers 2.
Yeah, what we're saying there, and cleaning the boots and doing that.
I remember it well, yeah.
Yeah, but it keeps you humble, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's a great understanding. You have to earn your right in that first team dressing room.
There was nothing I didn't clean when I was at Dundee United.
Many years ago. Here's Henderson down the left-hand side. Out of play off Lundstrom. McCurdy trying to get onto the throw-in, but he'll do well to get past John Souttar, who just sees it out of play. Hibs struggling to come up with a way back into this game.
Yeah, he's made the changes. I'm just looking in terms of the shape. He's just went with the two in midfield, Doyle Hayes and Neil Holden. Henderson pushed on one just behind the Kevin Nisbet, and they went with the Rangers playing out from the goalkeeper. They went with a higher press.
Tavernier slides it down the line, a lovely drop of the shoulder from Hadji, gets away from Stevenson, pulls him back, still Hadji goes, takes him out of play again, but Cantwell picks up possession and Alan Muir allows the game to flow. Jack spins it out to looking for Arfield, at Egan Riley in the way, comes to Yilmaz, and now Jack once more, just inside the Hibernian half, midway point in the second period. Forward it goes to Cantwell, who's barged in the back that time from Fish. I don't think we can have any doubts about whether that was meant to be a free kick, and Alan Muir wants a word with Lewis Stevenson for the couple of nibbles he had at Yanis Hadji.
Yeah, good refereeing if it's just a word. You know, that's good experienced referees. Nowadays referees just, they can't get to the incident quick enough. They sprint there and they're out with their yellow card. That's just experience. Just cool, calm, collected, take it out, have a word there, and a bit of respect for what Lewis has done in the game.
Yeah, it's just a word for Lewis Stevenson. As Yanis Hadji took him to the cleaners there.
It's a little bit frustration for Lewis. He's had one earlier on through the back of Hadji, and as you say, just that wee shimmy took him to the cleaners, so it's a little bit frustration. Just needs to calm down a little bit.
So free kick just left the centre, midway inside the Hibs half. Surely Tavernier isn't audacious enough to go for goal from this distance. Instead he just lifts it towards the back post. Souttar was completely unmarked, but I think there was a bit of blocking going on in there. Alan Muir has certainly given the free kick Hibernian's way, but John Souttar found himself all alone. And
yeah, it's a block. That's why they've done that. They've blocked him to get Souttar all that space around the back. Credit to the referee, he spotted it.
Here come Hibs down the right hand side. Yuan though, well, he's taken out of play, so he does get himself a free kick after giving the ball away. Hibs need to get a goal back pretty quickly, you would imagine, if they're to take anything from this game. 2 goals down.
Yeah, I'm just looking down at the bench and I'm looking to see who they can put on and see how they can change it. Or he's probably dealt, his hand's been dealt, unless he goes, you know, just Johan through the middle and Nisbet, just that wee bit more firepower.
Here's Joe Neal's free kick from the right hand side, comes all the way to the back post where Fish will loop it, looking for Nisbet. Nisbet manages to bring it under control on the goal line. Yilmaz though does well, and he was fouled by Nisbet. Not a lot in it. I do think the home fans feel that they've been slightly hard done by some of the decisions, but free kick goes Rangers' way with just over 20 minutes left to play. It's Hibernian 0, Rangers 2.
Yeah, I mean, Hibs started the second half quite well. Obviously the goal really deflates them, but for the last 10 or so minutes they haven't really managed to look like a creative force at all. Just when they're needing to get back into the game with time ticking away, 20 minutes left.
A Rangers victory will take them to within 8 of Celtic, meaningless as that is with the title already wrapped up, but clearly they will want the deficit at the end of the season to be as small as possible. As Lundstrom and Hadji combine, and Hadji looks to have had a real boost in confidence from that.
Yeah, he's had a better second half for sure.
back to the player he was. He started just about every game under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
I'm just looking at Cantwell. Cantwell's so clever. He stands up when the Rangers are playing out. He stands up against the centre half. How you doing? And then 3 passes later, he's walking away off him, away into midfield, centre half. If he goes with him, the other centre half left one-on-one with
so
Sakala.
hard to pick up, isn't it?
Unbelievable. He's so clever. And that's all come for the coaching pitch.
Rangers have it at the back. It's Jack back to King. Now Lundstrom just in that sweeper area at the moment, and looks to lift it over the top for Sakala. He's fast, but he won't catch that one as Marshall comes out to the right hand side of his box and gathers, and then immediately gets it back into play for Hanlon. Short ball into the middle of the park for Doyle Hayes, and then back it goes to Marshall. Rangers still the 2-goal leads. Remember, a really fascinating end to the SWPL season in prospect this afternoon. More of that in a second as McCurdy on the left hand side can't get away from Tavernier, and it will be a Hibs corner. Yeah, the Rangers Glasgow City game 4:10 on BBC Alapa. Red button commentary in English if that's your preference, or there's a live stream on our website of Celtic against Hearts. Rangers, Glasgow City and Celtic can all win the league depending on the outcome of those respective games. Tune in if you can. Here is Henderson from the left hand side. It's a deep corner, headed back across goal. You heard that hit the frame of the goal and away to safety. That was close. I think it was Nisbet at the back post, climbing and almost on target. And Rangers now will come and counter and try and put this game beyond Hibs. It's Sakala driving at the defence, out to Hadji, right hand side, clips it to the back post. It was Doyle Hayes getting back there with a clearing header, and then Cantwell with a high boot on Newell, but Newell emerges with possession, and then he's caught by Hadji as well, and it'll be a free kick eventually to Hibernian, who are so close once more to getting on the score sheet.
Yeah, that was a bullet header. All of the week coming together on that pitch, Cantwell and Doyle Hayes.
I'm not sure what that's all about, but some frustration boiling over between the pair, but Hibs have done everything in the game but score.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an easy header either for Kevin Nisbet at the back post. He's having to stretch for it. I thought he'd go back across goal with a header back into the danger area, but he goes for goal. Really unlucky to see it come off the post.
Yeah, it was a narrow angle, and well, that's a couple of times he's almost got on the score sheet. Cantwell and Doyle Hayes in the meantime have both been booked for the disagreement off the ball. Alan Muir deciding a yellow is sufficient. Brian McLaughlin, I think the Rangers are going to make a change.
Yeah, Alex Lowry has had the call. He's coming on. The player he'll be replacing is the aforementioned Yanis Hadji, who's had a terrific second half, you say, but he's coming off. 74 minutes on the clock.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, Alex Lowry's another player who's had difficulties with injury, hasn't really been able to flourish this season as I think many people expected him to after making a breakthrough.
Big expectations, very quality footballer, and I heard Michael Beale talking about going out on loan. It has to be the right team because he's a footballer. He doesn't, you know, if he goes to the wrong team that plays maybe a wee bit more direct football, and then it'll pass him by.
Yeah, he's certainly a player that seems to suit the Michael Beale style. You know, he's almost in a way like Todd Cantwell, or a player like that, who's very technically able and seemingly pretty intelligent.
See when you're in at the Old Firm and you're on that training pitch, the standard of training on that training pitch, playing with these top class players, sometimes that's the best education you can get, but then you have to go and play proper football. You have to get your fix on a Saturday, get out there and start making a name for yourself.
Hibernian have it. They trail by 2-0. James Tavernier with a free kick, and Yanis Hadji in the second half. Hibs have come close, and here's Kevin Nisbet, who's come as close as anyone, hitting the post about 5 minutes or so ago with a header from a narrow angle. Rangers get the throw in, though. Came off Kevin Nisbet last down at the corner flag away to our left, deep in Rangers territory. And
it's good defending again from John Suter. He's had a really good match, couple of big blocks, his distribution's been excellent.
Tom, well, that's two guys that have been injured for a long time. Spent 2 long hours in that gym. two of them coming to shoulder to shoulder and want to see who's the strongest. Take a bit of that.
Well, John Suter, I played against him when he was just a kid, and he's definitely a different specimen now to what he was then, that's for sure.
Both those players you mentioned, John, I mean, their upper bodies are vastly different from
that's what I noticed about Nisbet. He must have worked so hard, you know, to get back and come back in a physical shape. Against Hearts, you know, he was battering the centre halves all over the place. Fantastic.
Hibs have got a throw in about 25 yards from the corner flag, and it's a chance for Joe Newell to hurl it into the Rangers penalty area, which he does. Again, it's Suter who gets the commanding header. Back out to Newell, who'll try again. Just lets it trickle over the touchline, and it'll be another throw in. A chance to put the pressure on, and who knows if Hibs can get one back, maybe they can get level. But they've got 40 minutes to find at least a couple of goals. Newell from the left-hand side once more, a huge throw. McCrory comes, gets something on it, and then helped away by Cantwell. But again, it wasn't entirely convincing from the Rangers keeper. It took a deflection just before it arrived at him, which wouldn't have helped. Hibs knock it back into the danger area. Ewan nudges it on. Now it's Henderson. Henderson on the edge of the box gets a shot away, comes off the heel of McCurdy and gathered by McCrory, and the danger is away as far as Rangers are concerned. They still have that 2-goal advantage, and it's just not been Hibs' afternoon, John.
No, it hasn't been, as you say there. Even the second ball floating about, just you're wanting to fall for someone to get a clean strike on goal. And all credit to Rangers, they're making sure they're getting to that second ball first.
Here come Hibs once more. It's Doyle Hayes losing out to Arfield though. That's given away. That's poor by Jack, and Nisbet couldn't take advantage. Leon King doing well defensively against him to dig Jack out a hole after some poor distribution. And then Rangers trying to come forward down the left hand side. Arfield's pass for Sakala couldn't be collected, out for a throw into Hibernian. 12 and a half left to play.
After the second goal, Rangers have just been a little bit sloppy in terms of their passing. They're passing it too long, as they just pass it amongst themselves, working themselves up the pitch. That's when they're at their best. Short, sharp and passing, taking care of it, 1 and 2 touch, and letting Hibs get after it.
Newell knocking it forward. He was looking for Ewan, I think, but he got the pass all wrong, and it's all the way through to Robbie McCrory. Do you think there's a chance Robbie McCrory could be Rangers #1 next season, Stephen?
I think Rangers will sign a goalkeeper, so he'll have his work cut out. It all depends. I mean, he's certainly impressed last week in the Old Firm game. This week, I think in this game here, there's been 3 or 4 instances where he could have done better with his handling from cross balls. But yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt he's a top goalkeeper.
Yet to concede, as I mentioned earlier on, is 5 now Rangers appearances, but Rangers coming forward looking to score a third. It's Cantwell inside the penalty area, picking up from Sakala. Cantwell forced out to the right hand side. Lowry in support, comes back to Lowry just outside the box, right hand side, up against Stevenson, plays it for Cantwell. Cantwell on the goal line, inside the box, tries to play it into the 6-yard box, away by Fish, only as far as Lundstrom. Oh, he takes it on the volley, and it's tipped over by Marshall to prevent Rangers getting a third, and it remains Hibernian 0, Rangers 2.
Absolutely fantastic play from the Rangers. No, Cantwell down that right hand side, cutting it back, and when it comes out to Lundstrom, he takes it on the chest and he hits that sort of dipping volley. Real tough technique and a fantastic save from Marshall.
Yep, keeping Hibernian in the game just about, with 11 minutes left. 2 goals they trail by as Tavernier prepares to take the corner kick from the right hand side. And it comes, out swinger, headed away initially by Fish, and Lowry will retrieve. Yilmaz now advances, fancies a goal on his birthday, but he's 2 or 3 yards wide of Marshall's left hand post, and it remains Hibs 0, Rangers 2.
Fair play for taking it on. You know, 2-0 up, you can take these risks. It's 30 yards out, and he had other options, but fancied the shot. He caught it well enough, but as you say, 2-3 metres past the post.
Here's Ewan for Hibs, just in the halfway line, plays it infield for Newell. Looks like Hibs are going to make maybe 1 or 2 more changes before the close of play. 10 minutes left as McCurdy, one of their earlier substitutes, takes the ball down the left hand side, plays it in between Tavernier and Lundstrom, and he's taken out of play as he goes for the 1-2 off Henderson, and it's a free kick to Hibernian from almost an identical spot from which James Tavernier scored in the first half, i.e. well left of centre, just a few yards in off the touchline, and about 20 yards from the goal line. Brian McLaughlin, quickly, news of these Hibs changes.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of changes. The two players coming on, Miller and Hoppe, coming on for the last 10 minutes or so, being replaced. Egan Riley is coming off, as is Ellie Yuan as well. So 10 minutes left to play. Miller and Hoppe on. It's going to be Yuan and Egan Riley are the players who are being replaced.
Yuan's not had the same impact in the second half, John.
Since he's went over on the right hand side, Tom, it looks like that left hand side suits him because he can cut in on that right foot.
Here's an opportunity anyway for Hibs to reduce the deficit and maybe give themselves a chance of getting a point from the game, as Henderson from the left hand side stands up to the back post, but there's no Hibs players attacking that area at all, and either the delivery wasn't what the Hibs players expected, or there's a breakdown in communication. But either way, he's behind for a goal kick, and it's still Hibs 0, Rangers 2.
Yeah, I'm just looking down there. Lee Johnston was not happy with that. The quality of delivery there for young Henderson.
Suter fleeing out from the back, asking a lot of Arfield, but he gets first to it before Miller, who's just slotted in at right back in place of Egan Riley. Lindstrom driving it, the Hibs back line plays it to Arfield. Arfield to the edge of the box is Lowry. Lowry in off the right hand side, just can't get away from Stevenson. It's a good challenge, but there's Arfield bringing possession back into Rangers' hands. Cantwell for Tavernier, now Jack. Still inside Hibernian territory, albeit a bit deeper now. 1-2 between Tavernier and Arfield, and then it's off McCurdy for a Rangers throw in about 25 yards from the corner flag. And it really should be a Rangers game to see out now, barring anything almost miraculous from Hibernian. Here's Tavernier with the back heel for Cantwell, right hand side, in towards the penalty area he comes, can't get through a crowd of Hibernian players, but it's back with Arfield. 1-2 off Lowry. Cantwell slips it for Jack. Jack right hand side of the box, tries to play in Cantwell once more. Lewis Stevenson read it and manages to clear. Nisbet will give chase. Suter gets to it first, and then it's good play from Lowry, who's had his jersey pulled and his heels clipped by Kevin Nisbet, and the frustration really from Kevin Nisbet is going to earn him a yellow card late in the game. Hibernian 0, Rangers 2.
Yeah. Kind of any complaints for that? I mean, he's had a weak kick out as well. He's pulled his shirt. Yeah, I mean, that's a frustrated man.
18,172 inside Easter Road for this one, and it's the Rangers fans who are enjoying what looks like being a third win on the trot after a couple of defeats away to Aberdeen and Celtic, and then victories over the same opposition in the last two games. And Hibs will remain in 5th spot unless they can do something about this pretty rapidly. Well, I think they'll remain there regardless, because they're 4 points behind Hearts. They'll still be 4 points behind their City rivals going into the last couple of games. They will hope that that still means European football if they can stay there. That will be the case if Celtic win the Scottish Cup. Inverness Cali Thistle will have something to say, of course, about that as the season reaches a climax. The Hampden showpiece, and then the Premiership playoff final second leg is the final game on the 4th of June. And we are yet to find out who will be in that. Some massive games again on Wednesday. We'll have it all on Sports Sound here. We'll open all mics on Wednesday as all 6 games, and some very, very meaningful ones, as Hibernian have a throw-in over on the far side, right hand side, and time running out for them to get back into this. 2-0 they trail as the long throw comes in. Again, it's Suter who's been excellent throughout. You'd have to say he gets his head to it. Hibs throw it back into the penalty area though. Fishes up there, gets the header to it, but he's well wide of goal, and it was Suter making life difficult for him. And he has really been quite immense. Stephen, you mentioned him a couple of times in terms of distribution, but defensively good as well.
He has been really good, and it's brilliant to see him back getting regular football after his injury problems that he's had. On that occasion there, you know, he didn't win the header, but he did enough to make sure that Fish wasn't going to win a clean header.
That's good play from Sakala, and he's released Ryan Jack, who's motoring down the right wing. Here's Tavernier inside the penalty area, blocked. Oh, it's a good block, and it's almost trickled in. Cantwell finishes it off. A mistake from David Marshall, and Todd Cantwell is in once more to get on the scoreline. The Hibs fans depart en masse. It's Hibernian 0, Rangers 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant counter-attack from Rangers. Tavernier getting the shot away. David Marshall's really unlucky because it ricochets back off of Tavernier. David Marshall's already on the ground and it kind of hits off him. Cantwell's first to react and prods it home from a couple of yards. And yeah, I mean, throughout the game, throughout this afternoon, you would have thought that Hibs at times have been in it. They've certainly had chances to score, but ultimately 3-0 was a bit of a drubbing.
Cantwell, I think that's what, 4 goals at the last 4 games?
It is 4 in his last 5 in the league, yeah. John. Yeah. And it's, but he's certainly
he's shown another side of his game. He's got goals in him. You know, we all felt he was that sort of midfielder, but he's outstanding. And if that's the kind of quality player that Michael Beale's looking to bring to Ibrox in, and they're saying they're looking to bring 68 in, then, you know, Rangers will be a formidable side next year.
Yeah, Cantwell has endeared himself to the Rangers faithful. That's his 5th goal all told in Rangers colours since signing in January. And looks like Rangers now, having moved 3 goals ahead, are going to make some further changes. And it looks like some of their youngsters are going to get a bit of game time, Brian McLaughlin.
It certainly looks that way, Al. Certainly there's not too long left, about 3 minutes left to play here. Ross McCausland, Aaron Lyle and Robbie Ewer are going to be the players coming on. They'll be replacing Ryan Jack, Todd Cantwell and Fashion Sakala.
Thanks, Brian.
There's a flare in the pitch, so we'll need to wait till that's off.
Well, that's a chance for the substitutions to take place, I guess. As Fashion Sakala is going to try and deal with it. I think Alan Muir's advising him not to, but he's done so anyway. And the triple Rangers change can't take place. Sakala's just realised he's coming off, and he's put the arms out wide as if to say, who, me? But he is going to get a rest for the final few minutes, and Brian said some of the Rangers youth products are going to get a few minutes. Aaron Lyle is going to be the first to replace Todd Cantwell. And big moment for some of these players to just try and show Michael Beale what they're made of in the first team. But ultimately it's going to be a comfortable victory, this one, for Rangers, Stephen.
Yeah, it is. And you know, before the game we were talking about, because Rangers have nothing to play for and Hibs do have everything to play for in terms of trying to get these European places, what sort of Rangers team would have turned up. But it's been a strong enough performance from Rangers. I don't think it's been as good as last weekend's, but they've been clinical when they had to. They've defended very well.
Hibs are going to head away with absolutely nothing to show for their efforts. They were certainly close to scoring on at least 3 occasions, but ultimately haven't been able to find a way past Robbie McCrory. And as I say, will remain in 5th spot in the Premiership with 2 games to play. And they will be looking over their shoulder at St Mirren, who were excellent from what I saw at Celtic Park yesterday. Might well have earned all 3 points. So they won't have given up on 5th place in their first appearance in Europe since having won the Scottish Cup and then into the Cup Winners' Cup way back in 1987. It's going to be a Hibernian free kick. 5 minutes added on. I don't think I gave you the... Oh, I did give you the tins, didn't I? Over 18,000. 18,172. I think I did tell you that already. Anyway, just in case you missed it, there's Marshall over the halfway line, but Leon King, who's also been pretty impressive. Now Lyle picking up the substitute. Lowry driving into the penalty area, stopped in his tracks by Doyle Hayes. And now Lewis Miller trying to get the lines cleared for Hibs. And it looks like it's going to be a second successive 3-goal margin by which Rangers are going to win at Easter Road, and their impressive run here at Easter Road continues as fourth official shows it's 4 minutes rather than the 5 that was initially hinted at. Here's Ewer into the penalty area. Flicks it in for Arfield. His effort is blocked by Hanlon. Nisbet's down in the middle of the park. Brings himself to his feet as Hibs tries to come forward and get a consolation at least. Right-hand side. It's knocked out of play by Leon King, who's had a good afternoon himself alongside John Suter, a new central defensive partnership. Hibs take the throw in quickly, but it's too much on it. Behind for a goal kick. So, John, I mean, let's look at it. We talked about, you know, how Lee Johnson was doing after the year, and if he got third, how impressive that would be. But ultimately, if he finishes 5th or 6th, is that still a case of must do better?
Yeah, certainly. It has to do better. You know, I done the Hearts game here, and the word on the street was the losing manager's got to find herself out a job. It just so happened that Robbie went before it. That's how close that the public were saying about Lee Johnston. And you need to get Hibs into that European spot. You know, there's been big investment in it Hibs, and they have to get the recruitment a lot better. Players that have got to come in and make that first team 11 better than it is. You have to be finishing hopefully above Hearts, and that's what the Hibs supporters demand. If you look at this year, out the League Cup early doors, out the Scottish Cup for Hearts, and sneaking into the top 6, must do better.
Hibs have it middle of the park, but they have been ultimately well beaten. As competitive as they made the game as we enter the 3rd minute of stoppage time. McCurdy now tries to curl one. McCrory, that's a good save. The first time he's been truly called into action to make a save, and he stretched the right glove up towards the top corner to claw it away for a corner as McCurdy thought he had his first Hibs goal.
It's a fantastic effort from McCurdy, that's for sure. Gathered it just about the 18-yard line, was going for that top corner. But Robbie McCrory getting his left hand up, a really strong hand to turn it round for this corner kick.
From the right-hand side, Newell, near post ball, glanced on, there is a goal. It's Paul Hanlon who gets one back for Hibs deep into stoppage time, and the few remaining Hibs fans round Easter Road show their approval for the veteran defender getting on the score sheet for the first time this season on his 533rd appearance for the club. But it's not quite meaningless, but not far off it for Paul Hanlon and Hibernian. It will simply be a consolation, but Robbie McCrory loses his first goal as the Rangers goalkeeper. It's Hibernian 1, Rangers 3.
Yeah, Rangers will be livid that they've gave up a clean sheet with the defenders and the goalkeeper. But a great goal for Paul Hanlon, great servant to the club. And once again, that flat corner, you get your run right and get your head on it, it finds its way in the bottom corner.
Yeah, it was a good header, it really was, good delivery as well. I think Rangers, with having made so many changes, probably weren't set up as well as they could be in that corner kick there, but take nothing away from the header.
I think Hibs maybe have deserved a goal, you know, they have created
I'd say so.
Numerous chances, you know, and been unlucky.
Yeah, well, McCurdy denied just moments before him, but Paul Hanlon, as I say, his first goal of the season. His 27th for the club. It's his 16th season at Easter Road. Here they come once more. Couldn't get another one back, could they? It's Lewis Miller driving from the right-hand side. McCrory collects after a deflection at his near post, and the 4 minutes of injury time have come and gone. And that'll be just about that for the action at Easter Road. Rangers will close to within 8 points of Celtic with a couple of games left to play. There is Alan Muir's full-time whistle. Hibernian certainly made a game of it, but ultimately Rangers were just too clinical for them, and Hibs not clinical enough when they had their opportunities. The opening goal came just after the half-hour mark. James Tavernier with what you might call a trademark free kick, but perhaps that's not quite doing it justice. It was an excellent effort that David Marshall might feel he should have done better at his near post to try and keep out, but couldn't do so. And Tavernier on his 400th Rangers appearance got his 101st goal. There was a big chance for him just before the break, and Josh Campbell couldn't stretch to knock in a Kevin Nisbet delivery. Otherwise they might well have been level into the second half, and Rangers made it 2 when Yanis Hadji had a shot blocked initially. It came back to him on his left foot and he lashed it past David Marshall. Nisbet headed off the post as their frustration in front of goal continued, and it got worse for Hibernian as a Tavernier shot was blocked with just about 10 minutes left on the clock. Marshall couldn't gather as it made its way towards him, and Cantwell pounced to knock in to make it 3-0 into stoppage time. And Harry McCurdy denied by a brilliant save by Robbie McCrory, but from the resulting corner, Joe Newell found Paul Hanlon, and his glancing header at the near post went in at the back post to give him something of a consolation. But ultimately it's Rangers who emerge with most of the credit from another victory at Easter Road. It finishes here in League. Hibernian 1, Rangers 3.
This